Do you have time for an interview?
What is the interview about?
I'm doing street epistemology.
I don't know what that is.
Nobody does.
Okay.
That's not true. Most people don't know what it is. It's where you take a claim. Normally, in the course of a conversation with somebody, they make a claim that they think is true. So they say, I need to make sure that I light sage tonight to ward off the evil spirits, or I'm sure the president is in collusion with the Russians, or maybe your stance on something supernatural, karma, a higher power. I'm actually asking people to pick a claim that they think is true so that I can gently challenge you with questions to see.
Hold on, then let me think of it.
Yeah. What's your name, by the way?
You can call me Tina.
I'm Anthony. Pleasure. Thanks for stopping.
Well, as a Hispanic, we believe in ojo. You know what that is?
I talked to a woman yesterday about ojo.
Yeah.
It wasn't the first time that I've heard about it either. I think it's so interesting that you brought that up. Okay, I know what ojo is. Would you be interested in doing an interview, like for 4 minutes? I'll set a timer.
Yeah, 4 minutes is fine.
Okay.
Can I just put this in my backpack?
Of course. Do you mind if I set up a camera so I can record it?
No, it's fine.
Yeah?
You can go ahead.
At the end, if you're uncool with it, then let me know.
Okay.
And I won't use the footage. Ojo.
That's funny.
Second talk about ojo. Actually, well, it's my third talk. I did one about 3 years ago. So when I talk about something, even if it's something that I think I understand, the meaning of that word might be completely different than what I think.
Okay.
So when you say ojo, can you explain what ojo is?
Well, ojo is just like eye.
Eye.
If you would translate it directly to English.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just eye.
Yet you're not saying that you think eyes are real. What is the actual claim? If we can boil your stance down to a tweet, how would you
Ojo
phrase
is like when you stare at something and it breaks, or something bad happens to it if you don't touch it. So it's just like you're eyeing it out, but you're not touching it, so something bad happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example?
Well, this one happened to me. You're probably gonna think it's not real because it does sound absurd. But me and my friend were walking back. Me and my friend were walking to class, and we saw this guy riding his bike, and the floor was wet, and we were both looking at him at the same time, and then he happened to fall, and we were like, "Oh my God, that was like ojo." We were looking at him, and we didn't touch him.
Huh.
Yeah. It's just like a Hispanic superstition.
Is there anything... Okay, so my understanding of ojo is a little different in that if you looked at something and you complimented it, you needed to touch it. But I think your view of ojo is a little...
Well, it works like that too. It's like I worked at a movie theater, and this woman, she had a very nice engagement ring. And I told her, "Oh, it's so pretty. Can I touch it?" But I think she wasn't my culture, and she looked at me like, "No." And I was like, "Oh, it's because my culture has like a thing like, ojo, if I don't touch it, it's gonna break." So she let me touch it. So I touched her ring, so like nothing would happen to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How often do you find yourself doing ojo?
Not often, just when I see something that's like absurd or like super pretty, like babies. Like if I see a pretty baby, I'm like, I have to touch your baby. Or
How
I'm
about a
gonna give
puppy
it
or something?
Yeah, same.
Babies, puppies, rings.
Yeah.
Even somebody walking across the courtyard, if you happen to be looking at them and something bad happened, in your view, it's because you didn't touch them.
It's like, yeah, it's my superstition. It's like, oh, it's because ojo.
Yeah.
Like if I'm seeing, like, let's say I'm seeing somebody over there and I think, oh, her shoes are pretty, and she trips, it's like, it was on me. It was ojo.
Okay. This is fascinating, and I really appreciate talking about this. Can I get a sense of how sure you are that ojo is factually real and true?
Well, not
0 to 100, where...
I'm not, okay, 0 to 100, I'd say like 80, because when it happens to me, it happens. And it's, my mom says, because my brother, he was a very blonde baby. Like, he was white. And it's rare for Hispanics to have, like, a blonde baby. So my mom said that everybody gave him ojo because he was always sick. Because, like, yeah, so everybody would always touch my brother and be like, oh, it's because he's so pretty. No le quiero dar ojo. Yeah.
And they overdid it by the touching?
No, she would say that some people, they would just look from afar and be like, oh, like, he's a pretty baby and want to touch him. So he was always sick.
Oh, I see. Huh. Let me repeat it back. Not only do you use it like when you notice something that catches your attention, you have to touch it, or bad things will happen to it. In your view, one of the reasons why your brother kept getting sick as a child is because he had an attribute that caught people's attention where they looked at him, but they weren't regularly walking up to touch him. And therefore him getting sick was because they were not touching him.
Yeah.
Because they were looking at him.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds ridiculous when you say it, but that's our belief.
Why does it sound ridiculous?
Because it's like, how are you saying that just because you don't touch something bad's gonna happen?
Okay.
Yeah.
You said you're 80% sure, and yet it sounds absurd, is the
Yeah.
words that you used.
That's why I said 80, not 100.
Huh.
Yeah.
Why aren't you at a 5 on this claim?
What do you mean?
Why aren't you at a 5% in terms of your
A
confidence
5%?
that it's real and true?
Because when it's happened to me, it's happened.
You've had personal
Yeah,
experiences.
that's for real.
Okay.
But I said 80 because sometimes it sounds crazy.
Are you giving me an 80 because you're a little self-conscious about saying 100?
Yeah, because sometimes even I'm like, sometimes people are like, oh, like I gave it ojo, and I'm like, dude, no, you didn't. But then in my head, I'm like, yes, you did. Yeah, I'm like self-convicted.
What is a more honest stance on the confidence scale? Is 80 the most honest place to be?
No.
Where-
Probably like, I don't know, lower than 80, I would say.
Lower than 80?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I thought you were going to say even higher.
No, because sometimes I do, like, you sit down and you think about it and you're like, dude, this isn't real. But then it happens to you and you're like, yeah, it is.
This is awesome. Okay, there are times in your life where you find yourself thinking about ojo, and you're having a conversation with yourself, perhaps. Correct me
Yeah.
if this isn't what you're saying. You're having this inner dialogue, perhaps, where you're saying, dude, this isn't real. And then something will happen to you that, what happens to the dialogue at that point?
I'm just like, I think to myself, this isn't real. And then, like, for instance, that guy with the bike that he fell, I'm like, wow, maybe it is real. Because it was like he was just minding his own. And I was
Yeah.
thinking the floor is wet. And my friend told me, she was like, oh, I was thinking that too. And we were both looking at him. And then he fell. And he felt really ugly too. Yeah.
Is it conceivable that he would have traversed the wet floor and not fallen if you hadn't looked at him?
See, no. I feel like even if the floor wasn't wet, because my friend and I were looking at him.
Regardless of the condition of the floor,
Yeah.
he would have still fallen because you both looked at him.
Yeah, but we were just like look is just like, oh, look. We were like staring at him.
Okay, there's something different about the way that you gaze at a person that influences the action that's going to befall
Well, yeah,
them.
I guess at that time you're like, because at that time I had a bike and I wasn't using it because I was walking with my friend and I was just looking at him. And it's like the lady with the ring, like her ring intrigued me. So I was looking at it. And like his bike intrigued me. So I was looking at it.
Okay.
And it's like also with the baby, like it intrigues you. You're like, oh, it's a pretty baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If something intrigues you, it catches your attention. You find yourself gazing at it in a slightly different way than you might gaze if you're looking for your phone, I suppose.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? And then because the gaze is slightly different, it's affecting the outcome that befalls that person.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying it sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud.
Okay. Is there any way to test ojo to see if your gaze is having any influence whatsoever on these outcomes?
I don't think so. I think it just happens like a coincidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a coincidence?
I mean, I get it's a coincidence that I think it's not real, and then it happens. It's like, oh, is it a coincidence or is it factual?
There are times where you're trying to identify whether it was ojo or a coincidence?
Well, yeah, because sometimes my friends tell me, or like my parents are like, oh, it was ojo, and I'm like, dude, no, it wasn't.
Wow.
Yeah, but then it happens
You actually
to
have
me.
debates sometimes about whether it wasn't ojo.
Because my parents are like, I was raised in Mexico, so everybody there thinks it's for real. And so I was surrounded by the environment so much. I'd be like, dude, it's not real. Like, stop. But then it happened to me, like coming over here, like to the United States. And I'm like, oh, it's real. It's for real.
What is the tool or the method that you're using to determine whether it's coincidence or ojo?
I guess it's just because when it happens, it happens. Like, I don't think about it. Like, if I try to do it right now, like, nothing right now is intriguing me. But then, like, something just, like, out of nowhere is intriguing me. So I'll be like, oh, and then it happens. Do you know what I mean?
I think so. I'll repeat it back. If you intentionally try to make this guy walking by with his earbuds in trip, you probably couldn't do it on the spot.
No, because I'm not a witch.
Oh. The plot thickens.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Let's set aside the witch thing maybe just for a minute.
Okay.
And maybe keep going on the ojo thing. here's the other thing too, is I'm looking for somebody that I can meet with 3 times over the course of the semester, and maybe we can meet again and talk about other things.
Okay.
I think my question to you though was that, well, you were saying, I can't intentionally make it happen. Hi. I'm right in the middle of it. Can I just have like 1 more minute?
Can you try to real quick, please?
Yeah, it's in my backpack. Sorry. This is the 3rd time I was stopped today. It's right there, outer pouch. Okay, maybe we should wrap it up.
Okay.
But that was a great conversation.
Yeah,
I'm really
sure.
sorry for the interruption.
It's okay.
Let's pick it up at some other time, perhaps. As a gift, I'd like you to pick one of these.
Okay, I like blue.
Blue. Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah. Oh, let me give you this too. You can look into more on what I'm doing.
Are you on YouTube?
I do have a YouTube channel. If you search for those words in my name, Anthony, you'll find my channel.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much for your time.
I'll make sure you.
Howdy. Yeah.
All right, so
What's going on?
let me go ahead and look.
This is like the 3rd time I've been stopped today.
Okay, and we had information that you've been talked to before about being here.
Yeah, I had 2 conversations this morning, actually.
Okay, did you stop the student services give you permission to be here today?
I actually talked to a woman that came out. I think she was with Student Services. I didn't get her name. She didn't have a card on her.
She didn't give you notice saying you could be here.
She's actually...
Our information says that you're told. Yeah, you're not supposed to be out here unless you have their permission. So at this point,
It's my understanding, I explained exactly what I'm doing to 2 people about an hour ago. And we talked about if I was soliciting, and they agreed that I wasn't. Because I'm auditing a class, they said that I meet the requirements for being out here. But they said that they were going to go back and check.
okay, so you are a student or no?
I'm auditing a class.
Do you have a banner ID?
No, when you audit a class, they don't give you an ID.
Okay. At this point in time, we're going to have to issue what's called criminal trespass warning, just because you've had the conversation.
Is that right?
And that's what comes down from my chain, because
Would you mind double checking with Student Services? I wish I remembered, and I wish she had a card. I asked her for one, because honestly, I talked to Student Services, and they said it seems like what you're doing out here is fine, and they left. They didn't. And I said specifically, should I leave? And they said, no, you can stay.
you know what she looked like?
She was a white woman, a little heavy set. She had long hair. She was out here with a Hispanic guy. Yeah.
Copy. And right, dispatch, can you check with student services? He says he spoke with somebody over there today. And he gave him verbal.
There was also another guy that came by. His name was Elliot. He also introduced himself as like being Student Services, and I explained what I did, and he left me. But that was like twice today. But usually whenever I'm out here, I explain what I'm doing.
He did say he spoke to an individual, Elliot. So I'll hold off on anything.
Pardon?
I'll not hold off on any paperwork right now.
Okay, yeah.
So what are you doing exactly?
Well, I'm interviewing people about something that they think is true. It's called street epistemology.
Okay.
So it's where you take a claim. So somebody like this woman, the woman that I was just interviewing there, when you guys came up.
If you want to step back, you can stand in the shade.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Don't mind that, you know.
Yeah. She was. She has this view of Ojo. I don't know if you've heard of Ojo. It's like a Hispanic
Evil
thing.
eye.
Yeah. So if you comment somebody about something, but you don't immediately touch it, something bad will happen to it.
Let's say to the babies.
She used the baby example.
Okay.
She has a brother who has blonde hair, and because so many people looked at him but didn't touch him, he got sick. But anyways,
Yeah.
I take a claim like that and then ask questions to see how she could be so sure that that's what's really happening.
Yeah.
So it's a way of...
1252.
Go ahead.
I also have paperwork that shows that I'm auditing a class if you want to see it.
Which kind of reflects that
Immediately in front of the, in between the,
because
right outside of our school, right outside of Captain Bill.
Oh.
Right next to the image. Yeah, maybe that's that first one. So yeah.
I do have paperwork that shows that I'm auditing a class that starts at 4.
Okay.
But see, the thing is, when you audit a class, they don't give you an ID, and I like went to 3 places to see if I could get one, because I know that me being out here doing this always raises red flags, and
Right.
it'd be nice to have a student
Because
ID.
being associated as being a student is better.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So how? I could.
Hey, how are you?
I can
to see you.
Your last name, but how do you say?
Magnabosco.
Okay.
How are you?
Hi.
This is one of my friends here.
Hi.
Hello.
How you
Hi,
doing?
how are you?
I
Anthony.
just got the email from my chief that you're okay to do.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, apparently. So
Okay.
you're auditing a class, but you can't get an ID card, a student ID card.
They won't give you an ID if you're auditing a
Right.
student ID.
And then you're doing a guest speaker.
Actually, it's funny she walked by because I'm talking to her class tomorrow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, yes. So
Okay.
basically,
I know it's
just,
unusual, but it's completely legit. I don't
Yeah,
force
like I
anyone
said,
to talk.
The information we had this morning was from,
Right. We didn't get the updated information. You would think that.
Well, it wasn't actually. It was about an hour and a half ago that somebody walked by from student services, and I talked to them. So maybe there was a little lag getting it to you guys.
Yes.
I'm legit.
Yes.
She can vouch for me.
well, we're
What-
just,
I hope.
we don't, Phil doesn't get all the information.
Yeah, we're.
Yeah.
I think like 30 minutes behind on the most recent email.
Okay.
And I just got it right now because I was
Oh,
on
cool.
the way here. My chief stopped. He's
I
like, "What are you
hope-
doing?"
I didn't check my email. Hopefully I gave them my email address. So I'm hoping that there's something. That would have been nice. I could have actually showed you the email that I got from them.
So yes.
there is one.
So what is it? Why is it that people are calling it in? What is it that you're doing?
Well,
that's-
I mean, I'm a 50-year-old man on a college campus interviewing people with a camera. So
you're
I
not
think,
the only person. That's,
but I think what I'm doing is a little unusual, but I don't force people to stop. It's completely optional.
Okay.
I do ask them to pick a claim, like a topic that they think is true. So sometimes they pick sensitive topics, like
Okay.
we might talk about gun control, or that they think that there's a higher power, or karma is real.
Okay.
And then I ask them questions to challenge how they could be so sure that it's true.
Okay. So is it? So okay. On top of that, I heard something about videotaping. Do you videotape?
Yes.
Okay.
With their permission.
Okay.
Yeah, I always try to.
We'll get that over to you.
Well, in fact, when the officers approached, I lowered the camera because I don't like to record anyone without their permission.
Okay. No, I understand that. Well, thanks for understanding our
Yeah.
portion of things.
Yeah.
Like
This
I
actually
said-
happened like 3 years ago, where almost the exact same thing happened. People finally got the word what I was doing, and then they were like, actually, there's. I was gonna say, I think that was the one. That may have been the guy that came by. There was a man and a woman that came by, but it doesn't look like the white woman who was with her.
Okay.
So.
But yeah, this usually happens. It happened 3 years ago, and then I didn't have any more problems.
So one thing that I'll say, this from my standpoint, Sergeant might have it a little bit different, but when you're going to come out on campus, if you just call us, say,
Okay.
hey,
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
And ask to
Oh,
talk to the shift supervisor.
I would love that.
Because
Yeah.
when you talk to the shift supervisor, then the shift supervisor knows
Even
and tells the shift.
Okay.
even just our dispatchers, like, hey, just so you know,
Yeah.
I'm so and so. This is what I'm wearing. If you get a call, like,
Yeah.
this is legit.
I actually honestly try to wear the same clothing too, just so I match the same identity as before in case,
that's
because
what
I've
makes it
actually
easier
talked
for
to
us to find
officers.
it,
I've
too.
talked to officers before,
Yeah.
and they ask me what I'm doing. I tell them, but it doesn't seem like it's
Well,
bubbling to the other people.
you
But I'll call.
You think the
I think that's a good
communication-
solution.
and
Yeah.
that's what I would do personally, just because.
Right.
Like I said,
yeah, you can call our communication
Yeah.
center.
4242.
The non-emergency
Right now it's
number.
option 3.
Oh, okay, call the first number and
Yeah.
just say, my name's Anthony.
Yeah,
I'm gonna-
and it'll be like a whole push this for this for that. I believe it's option 3 just to talk to a dispatcher,
Okay.
and then they can put you either through the on-duty shift supervisor
Okay.
and or the dispatcher. You can
Okay.
tell them.
Cool.
And
And then they make sort of a blanket
Right.
announcement or something.
they,
Right.
they basically tell us at roll call, hey, by the way, we got this information because
How much notice do you need? Like the day that I'm coming out?
No, like as soon as you're parking or as soon as you're walking
okay.
up, so long as you just let them know, hey, look, I'm walking up. I'm going to be doing this in case you get any calls.
and if they have any follow-up questions, they can ask you right there over the phone as opposed
Sure.
to.
And then it would probably be good, like let's say we had never heard of you before. It would be good to say, hey, look, I got permission from student conduct or whomever you got permission from, and then we could just call and verify with them, and we'll tell you okay, we'll verify with them, and then there's no issue.
Okay, okay.
Especially we haven't had any emails. The other thing,
Plus, when we get emails and we're out of, she's out of the office right now.
yeah.
So she-
Well, I was thinking, speaking of emails, I might actually have one saying exactly what you looked up, but I just didn't have it to present to you because I didn't think of checking.
The last thing I was gonna ask, so how many more days, like, are you gonna still keep coming, like, throughout the semester? So I can basically let people know, hey, just, expect he's gonna be out here sporadically, or...
Honestly, it's kind of a noisy place, so I'll probably just finish out the semester, and
Okay.
then that'll be the end of it.
All right.
Yeah, that's
That
about it.
sounds- So what will happen is, let's say in the future we get a call again, we'll probably just have somebody walk by to, oh yeah, no, it's him, and probably not even bother you because we already
Okay.
know who you are.
No, having a number to call prior to coming out is huge because,
Okay.
like, I was interviewing that guy. We were having a good talk, and then you guys came up, and I understand you
And I
guys
was-
need to do your
yeah,
thing.
I wanted
but
to,
it ruined a
that's
really
what I
good talk.
said, if I could just get your ID real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
I understood yours.
So
finished
that's
it.
good though. I'm glad that the chief caught me when he did because he's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm saving the day." I was just being facetious.
Well, you did. You did.
But no, I'm glad that we had that talk and he, like I said, the emails just started coming in. We got some information yesterday, but that was the correct information. Whereas now we're up to date. So
I was here yesterday, and I'm trying to think. I think it's actually kind of a blur now, but I think somebody did come up to me yesterday. But I don't think it was an officer or security. I don't
One
remember.
of our officers, I think.
Maybe it was. Yeah, it's honestly kind of a blur.
that's all right. Okay, well, good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your
And
time.
I think you know, like, I think you got exactly what you need to do. You know that if somebody doesn't want to talk to you, then
Yeah. No,
So,
having the number is
okay.
huge, and that way I can make sure I'm communicating with you
And
guys.
I think the most reason students are freaked is because they see you have the GoPro.
Yeah.
They're funny that way.
No, I understand. Yeah, actually, in fact, what would be really good if you guys have time, if you go to my YouTube channel, which I have in my orange. Did I give you my orange card?
Sure.
Oh, you have it. Oh, yeah. Does it have my YouTube channel on it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it does.
I'm speaking to her group tomorrow. If you just look at the most recent video, you'll get a sense of how I introduce myself, get their permission to record, and then the type of things that we talk about.
Okay.
And
okay.
yeah, my work kind of speaks for itself. So check out my work.
Okay, well, have a
Yeah.
good day,
Yes,
sir.
ma'am. Thank you
All
very
right.
much. Thank you,
for
sir.
understanding.
Appreciate you coming by.
Hey,
Thank you. Yep.
I didn't catch what she said about your YouTube.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's got
Let's
it.
get this.
Yeah.
Because it sounded like it was pretty interesting.
I think you'll like it. How are you doing? Good to see you. Can I give you a hug?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we're
I'm
tabling,
really
we're tabling it there, so.
okay.
Yeah.
How did you know to come by here? Was it just coincidence?
One of the other members told me you were down here.
Did they say I was talking to the police?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were like, oh no, let me see if I can go rescue him.
I really appreciate you coming by.